Volcanoes are not just mountains, they are portals to the inner Earth. Beneath our feet, molten rock is silently gathering pressure, waiting for the moment to break free, reshaping landscapes, climates, even human history. What if I told you that some volcanic eruptions have cooled the global climate, triggered famines, and sculpted continents, while others quietly forged soil so fertile that whole civilizations rose on it? Stick around, because what follows will challenge everything you think you know about volcanoes. Let's dive deep together into some of the most astonishing truths about volcanoes. Knowledge both for the serious geographer and the survivalist curious about Earth's raw power. Volcanoes are not merely destructive forces. In fact, they are the very artisans of our planet's surface. More than 80% of Earth's present land was formed through volcanic activity, through lava flows, ash deposits, and magma-driven crust formation. Over millions of years, successive eruptions have layered rock, shaped mountains, formed islands, and created soils. So, those volcanic rocks eventually weathered away, releasing minerals and nutrients, and honestly, that produced some of the richest, most fertile soils on Earth. That fertility really underpins entire agricultural regions, and by extension, even human civilizations. Understanding this, well, it reveals that volcanoes are as much creators as they are destroyers. For a historian or geographer, that means seeing volcanoes not only as hazards, but, as absolutely foundational to the development of human societies and landscapes. For a survivalist or a field geographer, knowing volcanic soils can actually point you to areas of rich ground for farming or settlement, even though, they carry a latent risk. Understanding different eruption styles, from gentle lava rivers to planet-changing blasts, is, pretty important. Not all volcano eruptions are equal. Some are gentle, slow, and fluid, while others are just catastrophic. The difference often boils down to the viscosity of the magma and, honestly, how much gas it contains. When magma is fluid and gas can escape easily, volcanoes produce effusive eruptions. Lava flows out in rivers, quietly reshaping the land over time. In contrast, when magma is thick and traps volcanic gases, the buildup can end in violent explosions. Those explosive eruptions can hurl ash and rock high into the sky, unleashing pyroclastic flows, fast-moving clouds of superheated gas and volcanic particles that can race down slopes at more than 300 kilometers per hour, incinerating everything in their path. Appreciating this difference matters. If you study geography or plan expeditions in volcanic zones, you must examine the type of volcano, the magma chemistry, and historical eruption styles. That knowledge can guide hazard assessments and survival planning. Some volcanic eruptions have changed the course of world history. There are volcanic events that stand out not just for their destructive power, but for their global consequences. One of history's most powerful eruptions occurred in 1815, when a volcano expelled between 37 and 45 cubic kilometers of rock material, reaching a level classified as VEI 7. The aftermath of that eruption disrupted climate patterns worldwide. It cooled surface temperatures, failed harvests followed, and famine and disease spread. Entire regions suffered. And yet the eruption's impact wasn't only immediate destruction. It reshaped climate, agriculture, human migration, and possibly even culture. As a geography buff or historian, you really start to see volcanoes as agents of global change, not just, local disasters. From climate disruption to altered trade patterns and, human displacement, volcanoes have truly carved their mark on civilization. So the majority of the roughly 1,500 volcanoes currently considered potentially active are actually on Earth's surface. According to National Geographic, they encompass a pretty wide variety from shield volcanoes, which form these broad, gently sloping domes because their lava is very fluid, to stratovolcanoes, built up with alternating layers of ash, lava and volcanic debris over many eruptions. And then there are cinder cones, fissure volcanoes, and more. But volcanism isn't limited to our planet. Bodies such as moons and distant planets also host volcanic activity, underscoring how volcanism is a fundamental geological process. That perspective frames volcanoes not as oddities or catastrophes, but as a core process for shaping worlds. As someone deeply interested in geology or survival, this recognition broadens your frame. Volcanoes are universal sculptors. Volcanoes are far more than just dramatic backdrops for disaster movies. They are, honestly, architects of continents, sculptors of climate, and catalysts of human history. For anyone serious about geography, geology, survival, or human resilience, understanding how volcanoes work, their eruption styles, their long-term influence on landscapes and societies, and how to respect their dual nature of destruction and fertility is absolutely essential. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more content like this, detailed geological analyses, historical volcano case studies, survival geography guides, make sure to, subscribe and share. Dive deep, stay curious, and help build a community of serious geographic and history buffs who know the Earth for what it really is: alive, dynamic, and powerful.